Hello, everybody. Iman Edwards here, just producing another video. I want everyone listening to me knowing that I am starting this thing out. I don't claim to be a YouTube expert or any of those things, but I am doing something because I wanted to jump into the fray. I know that it's going to get better over time, but I'm doing what I can to start sharing some things with you. So something that was on my mind to share with you is to start really using video evidence to make the points that I am trying to make. One, a few things that I'm trying to address would be this. I hear people say all the time that both political parties are the same things and that. And you can argue that both political parties, both Republican and Democrat, you could say they have unsaved people in there. But when you try to make a moral equivalence, I think you're absolutely wrong. And I'm going to do a lot of that, addressing that. And I realize I have to do just a little bit at a time. All right, so what I am attempting to accomplish in this particular video is to share my screen with you all. Also to begin to show you video evidence of policy platforms. One of my concerns is I know that people, and I'm just going to say this, were outright lying about Project 2025, which I keep telling people that's not a Trump's agenda. So what I am going to do is address a Democrat agenda, show you what the governor in Minnesota is doing, who is now Tim Walz, who is now Kamala Harris's running mate, and I probably butchered that, her running mate. But I want to show you a few video clips of a young lady that they were transitioning. This young lady was transitioning a gender reassignment, what they call gender affirming care, which is a lie. But she was telling her story about it. And I want you to see this young lady's testimony in telling her story. And I want you to see, first, I want you to see what they're doing and what was done in Minnesota, so you can see that it's true. And then I want you to see Agenda 47, Donald Trump's policy platform, so you can judge for yourself. I will outright say this. I'm not interested in convincing the dishonest. You can't convince dishonest people. But I wanted to put video evidence out there to show the honest what we're up against. So let me share my screen here real quick. And then we're going to get after it. All right. Now, in sharing this with you, you're going to get to see video evidence of what is going on, what happened in Minnesota.
Well, today, Governor Tim Walz signed an executive order providing legal protection to those who come to Minnesota for gender-affirming health care. John Croman joins us now live from the Capitol with more about what prompted today's action. Hi, John.
Hey, Rena, this comes at a time when a lot of other states are passing bills that would restrict gender-affirming care or outlaw it for minors. And there's actually a bill here pending at the legislature here at the Capitol that would make Minnesota sort of a trans care refuge state. But the governor did not want to wait for that to get to his desk.
When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
Wait a minute. When your children tell you who they are, it's your job to listen to them and believe them. My parents, my children, no outsider, no doctor can tell me that my son is my daughter. This is the craziness that we're dealing with. And she said this with a serious face. I know that we are under judgment because we'll believe a bold-faced lie rather than the truth. But I'm going to continue.
It was an event that had all the trappings of a bill signing ceremony. A huge crowd of lawmakers, advocates, and families, in this case, gathered in support of legal protections for people seeking gender-affirming care for themselves or their children. But the paper Governor Walz signed was an executive order. His action comes at a time when transgender persons across the nation feel under siege.
This is life-threatening.
The Iowa Senate passed a
Now, I'm going to stop there because I have some other clips that I want to show you. I want to show you a video of a young lady who is now detransitioning. And I want you to hear her story. I don't want you to hear it from me, but I want you to see the video evidence of what really is going on and what we're up against. And why I'm going to show you why there's no way in the world I'd ever vote for Democrat unless they repented and changed their policy platform. So let's look at this here.
At the age of 12, I started experiencing some gender dysphoria, and I started seeing a therapist, and I got the diagnosis, and I started going on the path of medical transition at the age of 13, starting with blockers and then moving on to hormones. And at 15, I got a double mastectomy, but it turned out that it wasn't the best decision for me, and I stopped transitioning at the age of 16.
All right. So now you see they did gender reassignment surgery on this child. Gender reassignment surgery on this child. Now I want you to know that is Joe Biden's, that's Kamala Harris's, and that of course you see the governor of Minnesota. That is their policy platform. I literally laugh at anyone questioning my Christianity or my blackness because I'm against this stuff. All right. I want you to see the end of the young lady's testimony, and I want you to hear her heart on it. All right. So let me just go there real quick.
That's an absolute minimum to walk anyone through something as complicated as what you laid out.
The problem with me starting it so young was not only that I couldn't consent, I couldn't really fathom the full picture of things. You know, I'll never be able to breastfeed. I'll never have that erogenous sensation in my chest back. I do hate to speak about it, but I'm experiencing sexual dysfunction at the age of 18. That's something that women usually go through when they're in their 40s to 50s.
That's an absolute minimum.
So just stopping there, and just want you to see this young lady is saying that she's dealing with something at 18 that women go through in their 50s. And again, we're having a moral discussion about this. It baffles me how blind we could be, but God did say that he was going to turn people over to a reprobate mind. He was sending strong delusions. They would actually believe a lie rather than the truth. So what I decided to do, because I call the Democrat agenda Project Sodom and Gomorrah, and I've been making the argument that they've been trying to push you to Project 2025, which is not a Trump's agenda, instead of you seeing the man's real agenda. So I want to show you the man's actual policy agenda in reference to what we just witnessed, in reference to what the governor did, in reference to this young lady's testimony. And I want you all to know, if you go on YouTube and you start researching this stuff, there are many of people with this testimony, many of children with this testimony. This stuff is horrible. And I want to say this and give this warning that I don't see people walking in. If God tells you something is evil, it is evil. You'll only learn the details later, but it's evil. You can take God at his word. Anytime we go against the will and the word of God, we pay the consequences. But anyhow, let me share my screen, and I want you all to hear what Donald Trump has to say from a policy platform on these issues. So let's take a look at that.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayers.
Now, we're getting a chance to hear the man where he stands on policy. Where does he stand on policy? And as a Christian, I'm going to vote policy. Now, here's the difference between me and most people, or I'm not going to say me and most people, but a good number of people, is that I'm trying to hear what the man has to say. Now, I'm going to give you this as my opinion, especially for men. We don't worry about a man's tone. We worry about what the man said. And I'm going to also affirm something. Men are supposed to lead. We are out of place. And God is going to ask us, Adam, where art thou? What did you do? You're out of place. You're not in church. You're not walking with me. And children's lives are being destroyed. God is going to hold us accountable. You should be in place and you should know the issues. But I want you to see it. I'm going to let the man finish. And because I've just been laughing, there's no way you could be voting Democrat and having a moral discussion with me. There's no way. Absolutely not. That's laughable to me. But anyway, let me continue.
Taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures, and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma.
And I hope that's the fact. I really hope I want them to be able to sue. Because if you can sue these doctors behind this stupidity, if you can sue them for performing this surgery on you, which is going to give you medical complications later on in life and really immediately, because there are many things health-wise that are happening to people. Because God doesn't lie. God is telling you, I come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. But I hope that they have the opportunity to sue these, what I'm going to call rotten doctors, mutilating children. I can tell you as a child, I'm not the man that I am today and have matured to totally different views than I would have had at a 12 and 13-year-old, as a 12 and 13-year-old kid. Stop it. All right. But let me finish sharing, because I want you all to see it all.
Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations.
Wait a minute. I have to ask. Now, I can tell you that the Obama administration was taking away funding from schools that would not allow a factual or a biological boy in a girl's restroom. Federal funding was threatened to be taken away from those schools. The Obama administration, which would go to the Biden administration and to the Harris administration if she was the president. I'm wondering, what conversation are we having? I'm going to say this again. You can't possibly be having a moral discussion with me talking about, and I'm just going to call some people out. Both sides are wicked. Well, hold on. Let's just evaluate this policy here. Is this man's policy better than what's being heard? Is this man's policy better than Obama's policy when it comes down to medically transitioning children, mutilating children through sex changes? Let's finish.
For sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than...
Hold on. It's going to put together positive education about the nuclear family. For those who are challenged and you don't know what the nuclear family is, that's a mother and father. So now I see why Democrats hate the man. I see why they hate the man. The man is standing for something that, ooh, I'm going to make some folk hot, that most black churches aren't even standing for. Ooh, some white ones too. Ooh, you're not. Trump's the devil though, but he's standing for something that not even your pastors do. But let's continue.
Erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear...
Just so you know, what the man y'all are calling the devil, Trump, is repeating what Jesus said. Jesus said, in the beginning, God made them male and female. Okay. I wonder, now, let me show you. The Democrat Supreme Court Justice said she didn't know what a woman is. Okay. But they want to keep convincing you, Trump's the devil, Trump's the devil, Trump's, okay. I can appreciate Trump standing on something so serious that I don't see most people being vocal enough about. All right, but let's finish.
The Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parent's consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent.
Let's stop there for a second. I'm going to ask you again, all you Project 2025 folks. Why in the world, as a Christian, would I take issue with what that man just said? Why would I take issue with what that man just said? I laugh because I have some critics who tell me, that attempted to tell me that I was not close to God or that I'm missing it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Again, I listen to what people have to say. listening to the man's policies. In California, they're trying to hide the transitioning of children from parents. And I just have to ask people, are y'all crazy? Trump's the devil? Total opposite of the evil Democrat agenda. What are you talking about? Trump saying men can't compete in women's sports. Biden just passed that dealing with Title IX. You were going to see men in women's sports. Even it's reported that the swimmer still genitals, still there's male parts swimming with those girls. Oh, I'm just going to say that, that man y'all call sinner and evil and the devil has more moral stance than you. Let's finish.
No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Oh, man. Oh, man. I just, so I hope that blesses you. Do me a favor, because I'm trying to get this off the ground and I'm trying to do more commentary on things that are so very important. Could you please like, share, and subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. But I'm trying to get the word out and I'm trying to begin. And I'm starting from somewhere. I talked to my cousin and I've been putting this off, doing YouTube things, and my younger cousin, basically in so many words, my cousin Fred Stamps, former Canadian Football League wide receiver. I'm thinking he's a Hall of Famer, but definitely an all-star, told me, he said, cuz you have to start somewhere. And so that's what I'm doing. So if you will, please like, share, and subscribe, because I'm trying to get this thing going. Blessings to you.